Hey, good morning, Mr. Petey. Ape is just dead here. What the heck? Too early for this. It's like 10 minutes in. It's like balanced already in a 2-point range. What the heck? Yeah, it's pretty weak auction, honestly. NQ's already below the overnight low. I don't think we're leaving the risk to the downside, honestly. NQ's right here, already below the overnight low as soon as we opened. We can bring it up to the 80, I like mid 80s for sure, but not here at the 70. This looks like some downside risk is here, but it's kind of balanced. I mean, look at the New York Open. We're just chopping around it. This could be the first time in a while we might have an open auction in range where we just don't do much until late day. The volume is already very low. It's too early to have volume like this. Yeah, there's support lower at 50s, but that's nothing here at 70s to be long out of. Yeah. What is today? The call and put wall, they're right at, sorry, the gamma flip and the call wall are in the exact same spot. Let's see. Let's see this push into that value area high, 80s. Open to adding a short there. Small, but just to check. See the deltas pushing up as we're breaking out to the upside. It's a very small range though. Tape's very underwhelming. Yeah, it is. Honestly, this could be an open auction in range today. I haven't seen a tape like this in a while in the first 10 minutes. This is going to be a very choppy day. Or at least for the first half of the day, probably. Something slapped the tape there at 80s. Volatility hitting the tape there. Yeah, someone's there at 80s, so someone agrees with me. 80s for sure. You want to be short around there. Because they just slapped the tape right now. 5 points. As soon as they went up into that value high. So. Someone agrees. And that someone has size. Because he smacked it. Well, I probably will not be doing anything. This is very choppy. I'll watch. Yeah, so I have an ask wall. Yeah, see, so there's a wall right here. That's 85, 70 to 85. 1,400 lots there total sitting there. Not in one zone, not in one level, but within that spread. And then there's another set at 805. Alright, I'll try a small lot here. Well, no, I'll wait to see what it does. I want to try a small size short, but that's going to be it. It has to go a little higher. We'll look for like a failed breakout. Huh? What? You might need to let this range play out for a little while, honestly. Even into probably into Euro close, which is 2 hours from now. Because this is very messy. And I don't know if I'm going to trade this yet. I'm going to give it like 2 hours. An hour and a half or so. There's just no meaningful volume. And we're below, we're in between a prior day high. We're in between two structural areas. Not much to do here. I'm gonna work on something else in the meantime. I think he's holding the overnight low or trying to. Oh, they raised. Look, they raised the size. They raised it. They've doubled up here on the ask. Interesting. The offers are stacking more offers as we're pushing up. Dollars are passively waiting up here at the 80s. They're offering still. You can see all that buy delta. It's getting met with passive selling. I'm not gonna bet against it, but it certainly seems like there's a wall here getting chewed into. It comes in Q into that supply zone, see what it does. It's a little bit over the VWAP, and the gamma flips right at the level. Nope, I don't have my eyes on anything, to be honest. I mean, the only thing I would assume is if this can do like a failed breakout of the Valor high, it would either test above the party high right here at 84, and then fail down below, VWAP again, which is what, 80s, 78? No, not really, man. And Q's here trying to reclaim and see if it does either break out or fail. Gonna take it slow and wait because this is not a. I don't see a favorable environment here. He's hitting that wire. No, I can't tell. Honestly, I have to look at the. Let's see, what's the. Is it down or is it green today? It's just funky because it had a large move overnight and then it completely faded it out. But it's holding, so I agree. Not too bad. Not too bad. The Dow is trying to break down below the overnight low right now. You look, do I have it up there right? Oh, not how. You see the sector rotation right there above my head somewhere. As the yeah. There it is. You see the smaller, but overall you can see what's green so far intraday. Yeah. These might. Oh, okay. Turned off the desktop audio. This thing's just continually melting up. Okay. NQ is getting above its gamma flip. Not bad. Back above the party high. Delta still continues to push as we go higher. Not bad. I mean, I certainly did not like the open, but I think they're pushing pretty steadily here. Oh. NQ did, like you said, right past the box. If it holds up that point, that's where the gamma flip is and the parity high is. A pretty strong inflection area. It holds above it, should be able to melt. The 30K, that's where it was pre-market, around 30K. Right now the sectors are still red, so if they start to flip green, they can go higher. This thing can melt up even higher. I'm not sure if it can, but watching. The Dow is performing okay. It's red. Is the NQ green? Oh yeah, the NQ is green. It's up 45 points on the day. I need to add a percentage to this. I don't really care what the bid and ask are. Bid, remove, bid, ask, remove. Then change. There we go. Yeah, so the NQ is up 0.15, S&P 0.08. Oil's up 3%? Oh my. Interesting. This is the area I want to see it like from here. I want to see a hole. I mean, where's my drawing tool? There it is. Right here. Come back and retest, and I'll see what they do from here on the S&P. Oh. Yeah, it runs away and just melts, and that's fine too. You know, not a problem. Yeah. For now, I just wait. Working on developing a positioning brief for the morning. And it takes into account all the overnight size and the overnight and the prior session positioning. Kind of shows you where there's absorption, where there's initiative buying, where to see where the massive resting walls are for passive orders, pre-market. So this morning there was a ton of bids sitting at 50 through 60. And then there's an ask wall sitting between 83 and 95, kind of where we're at right now. There's a wall there sitting there. You can see the multi-day positioning, kind of where the last few areas that have had good size traded. Last 5 sessions. I have a paint ledger that's pretty good too. But I'm looking to refine it before I release it. Ugh. I'm working on this right now while this kind of melts in whatever direction it's gonna go. I'm waiting for some volatility. Volatility hits the tape, I will engage and go from there. But for now, I'll work on something on the side and see if the market wants to bring in some volatility. All right, well, NQ's right at that area. Looks like it's gonna reverse a little bit. Test VWAP maybe. Where's the Dow? Dow's bouncing. Okay. I'm like open to trying a very speculative short here for a failed move up. But I don't know. Market doesn't really think. This looks like it's just a melt up. It sounds very useful. Yeah, Friday's similar for me. I pretty much on my computer, I'll do little side things. Yeah. Friday. Yeah, I mean, I had there in the morning. I had just one good trade. I think it was like the failed breakdown of the prior value high. It was somewhere around here. I think it was this little area. Yeah, this little area. I agree. It's not much. Pretty slow day, man. I think this is definitely, I'm telling you, I think for some, I don't like to lean short, but I do think today is one of those days where leaning short might work very well. The best move of the day, yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, I think I said it in the chat and Substack, that delta, speed of tape delta indicator is how it was, it gave me the context to know that there was trapped selling. So it definitely gave you credit for that indicator to help me find the that zone. Just chill, light, relax. Thanks, man. I've been finding good trades with it too. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad, man. I'm looking to so because it's like very good for net positioning going in and out of an area because of the delta, I'm looking to incorporate it with the positioning map that I'm making so that I can see the positioning map. So for example, if there's like an area of prior absorption, the positioning map, the report tells me, hey, overnight or yesterday there was a lot of absorption in this area. Keep an eye on it for potential, I don't know, short squeeze or more supply at this zone. So I'm going to and see if there's still that absorption or initiative buying there, because the delta will speak on that, right? It'll clarify if that still exists there in that zone, and that'll give me confirmation as well. So that's why I'm creating this briefing that I'm talking about. I'm looking to refine it so that I can, in conjunction with that delta, speed of tape together, right? So all these zones right here, it'll overlay them, you know, where there was trapped inventory or in favor, based on the MBO data. And then I confirm it with the speed of tape delta, if that zone is still in favor or out of favor the following morning or day, depending on when the report pulls it. Right here, this report right now pulls it for the last 5 days. It'll pull the overnight, it'll pull the prior RTH, it'll show me where the passive walls are, and then the multi-day positioning, where traders have been positioning long or short the last few days. So I'm looking to overlay that so that it gives me context that, okay, These sellers are still there. They're still pressing passively. The delta suggests that there's clearly absorption because there's a bunch of buy delta, but no push in favor of that delta. In other words, like delta buyers are pushing over the ask or buying at the ask, but price is not moving up. There's a passive seller there. Something like that. All right, we'll try it here. Oh, the ask small. Very small trade. I don't really want to try it. The NQ's coming back below the gamma flip. Again, there's no confirmation here. I bet you'll find some super concentrated areas. I think so. I think conjunction with the data report alongside the delta or the speed of tape, it'll show some thick areas of volume that transact. And that's what's most important is like when you're trading, if you find an area that has very thick liquidity, you're gonna have a reactional move out of the zone. It could be in favor of where the orders are being placed on a breakdown, or it can be a reversal away from it. So yeah, that's definitely going to be that definitely will happen. I think is that I'll find some key zones, inflection zones for trades, that because when you have a lot of volume concentrated in a zone, there's usually a big move away from it or in favor of it, whatever it is. It depends on how it transacts. So that definitely will be very useful. I'm just trying to refine the report so that the zones that it highlights are actually quality zones and not just zones all over the place. So NQ is below that little supply area, flip and party high. That's the reason I took the short. I think the better short probably would have been the NQ here. NQ is really flushing down after it rejected this area. Let's see what this GEX report says. Yeah, the NQ put a nice little recovery there. So far, it's recovered the priority high that it kind of tucked under it right now. I think it's going to be contingent on what the NQ does here at this little box area. There. Whatever happens right here, I think it's going to be where we kind of go from. So that supply area is definitely, or supply support, whatever it ends up being, is going to be crucial important here for the rest of the session. At least in the most immediate, like what, 20 points from here. So does he have the folder or no? Oh. Bye. He's one below 85. I mean, again, I'm not super convinced on the short, so I only took 2 micros. The risk is only $73. Like a non-existent risk. In the grand scheme of things. Like 10% of my daily risk, so it's fine. I just wanted to, yeah, 85 is where I'd like to see it. I mean, but it doesn't look like, I'm mostly leaning on the NQ here failing, and it's not doing so. So this likely would just squeeze me out. I'm right below the overnight high on purpose. I'm right below it intentionally for that reason, but we'll see what it does. If it starts to break down, I'm open to adding more, but I need to see weakness come into the tape for me to add. Other than that, I'm just gonna let this thing stop me out for the 70 bucks and just let it do its thing. The IB is set here. They're about to break it right into the IB. They're pushing. I have a the S&P is running well past the NQ's performance. So it's not really dependent on it right now. Looks like it's just maybe dependent on the Dow's strength. So what's green is the value names there. You look at my head, there's this ES, VAL, those are value names, part of the Dow. They're up 0.62, and then the Mag 7 just went green. 5 of the 7 mags are green right now. And here they come, they're gonna stop me out. Ugh. NQ's holding a little box. Not bad. I don't think the flip is right there. That's wrong. Gotta refresh this one. There you go. So the gamma flip's like there. 7804. Oh. NQ looks smooth. Look at it's holding pretty decent here. Okay. Okay, NQ. Yeah, here it comes. I was hoping for something opposite of what's happening, but it looks like the bulls definitely took it on NQ. I was looking for something like this, where it just retests and then fails. But instead it's doing the break above, throw below, hold, and then continue, probably. We'll see if it continues, but it looks like certainly the continuation part on the NQ is happening here. All right. We'll add some more here. Go. That's as much as I'll keep, but yeah. Alrighty. So I added a little bit more there. Very speculative trade. Added a little bit more, but that's as much as I'll risk. 165 on this trade. Only because it's just struggling. You can see the NQ is not. Again, this is the same area I'm watching closely on the NQ, and it still hasn't broken down by any means. But it's not holding, right? It's not breaking out. It's just consolidating there. I'm going to use that consolidation as confirmation that potentially we could come back lower on the NQ, somewhere down here near the open. And that will result the S&P trading somewhere maybe at VWAP or so. I don't know. We'll see. Take it level by level, but we will see. It's a low conviction kind of environment for me. Not really highly convinced of this trade, but I'm open to adding more size because the risk is relatively tight or small. And will likely be my only trade here during this time period. I don't think I'll find another entry until late day. I keep doing the same thing right here on the little dips on the S&P. So like build a little range, wick it lower, then bring it back up. The wick, all right, build a little range right here, wick it below, build a little range, wick it below, and then it breaks out. So far, it's kind of been the theme here. Build a little range, wick it below. Kind of been the theme so far this morning. Range, wick, below. Range, wick, go. Range, wick, go. That might be. Might get another leg higher on that little wick stuff. I don't know. But it seems like that's a little bit the progression so far. Once they start blowing or breaking those little wicks below, you might start taking some of that momentum off the table. Where's the VIX at? I mean, this is ridiculous. 15. Oh, there we go. That makes sense. The VIX is literally at 15. Oh, this sucks. The sweet spot for the VIX, I think at least for, you know, volatility, at least it's around 18. To have VIX at 15, of course, this makes sense. I mean, if we go sub 14, 12, 14, fucking boring as shit. It's just gonna we're gonna have grind days and yeah, just melt. So if this goes any lower, I mean, the VIX goes today's up 2% for some reason, but the VIX continues to trend lower. This is going to be a very normal regime. It's kind of grinding up after some initial morning volatility. So this might be a regime going forward until more volatility comes in. There's my stop. Boom, stopped out. Yeah, 173 loss. That's fine. Very small size. Overnight high is right there. I'm about to take it out. I probably won't even take another trade today. I just don't see a scenario where this is going to result in me taking another trade today. Honestly. Yankee is still stuck in that box. So, kind of funky, but Yankee is not really moving out of that area. If it does, great, but it's still stuck in that little box. I might try the NQ here. You know, I do like its divergence currently. Let the S&P do what it wants, but the NQ is certainly... Let me see. MNQ. The zone is what? 29870. Oh, the high. Uh, 29839. Yeah, I'll try it on the NQ here. It won't let me. I gotta probably change the settings. Oh, this is probably the full NQ chart, not the micro. Yeah. Wait. It should. Symbol MNQ, yeah. Oh, hi. Welcome back. Oh, there we go. Why? Yeah. Okay. Hey. Sure. Yeah. We took 2 micros here on the NQ. What's my fill? I can't even see it. Huh? Okay, let's see. I'll change the DOM on this one for now, just so it matches what I'm trading. U 26. There it is. There we go. Cool. So I changed the DOM over for the NQ, just so we can have a clear view of the positioning here. Huh? Waffle? Yeah. Huh? There you go. So the NQ DOM there, now reflecting the positioning I have open. NQ moves a lot different on the DOM than anything, but the S&P is accelerating down lower too. It looks like I was right on the short on the S&P. It was just a little too tight. New York opens right there. We go. Yeah, filled. Cool. Got 1 lot left. I only took 2, but it's accelerating lower here now. There you go. So you see the fills now. So the New York open tagged here. I'm gonna target that. Well, let's look at the higher time frame here on the NQ. Yeah, it might go even lower than that. Okay, we'll see. Let's see what the structure calls for, but I might just move it down to the prior value low. It's exciting. You see the tape is waking up now, all of a sudden. The NQ DOM is just too sporadic for me. My goodness, look at this thing. Jeez. I haven't had an NQ DOM open in a while. Looks like it's tweaking out. Cool. Down only 36 bucks now. And we'll see where this goes, because if this is a breakdown and it breaks below the overnight low and holds below it, might come down to that prior value low, 29,680, which is where I'm talking. Pretty steep. Another 100 points lower. Overnight high failed breakout was perfect. I like to add to this trade, but I don't. I'd have to hold below the POC. This is a big structural area right here. Right here. This volume point of control is massive. We get below that. Right here. This is where things kind of held pretty well this morning. We get below that. We get a massive dip, I think. Another 100 points. Right here on the NQ. We go from here to 600, maybe 6.5, somewhere around there, which is about 100 points from where we're at right now. Partner Rango. Yeah. I just I re-entered because I think the NQ is the one that was really showing the weakness, so I just took the NQ short, and it didn't take long. It took like 6 minutes, and then eventually it quickly started to sell off. The S&P, I guess, wanted to trade above the overnight high and then fade. I got stopped out right as it did that. Here were my entries. Boom, boom, and then overnight high got taken, and I got stopped out. But I entered on the NQ. I was referencing the NQ all morning, saying it was weak, or that not that it was weak, but it was at a good area where the short would make sense. Right at the supply box. It's drawn on my screen. You got a limit at 92? Nice. Yeah, I'm just gonna watch the structure on the NQ and see how much lower it can break. I don't know exactly, but I know if it breaks below this 750s, it can drop another 100. Ooh. You know what? You should. Yeah, if you don't think you have much else to do. What a position to be in. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there it is. It's breaking down further. Again, if it holds below 750s on the NQ, you gotta hold below it, not just like hit it, but hold below it, form acceptance underneath. I'm open to adding more to this NQ short and just kind of lowering my see now support formed below. Look at the Sierra chart just adjusted the support zone right here, right where I said I want to see a break below. So keep in mind, I was just saying 750s is massive, and then Sierra chart just said, I agree with you, bro. It shifted the support area down to this area, the 750s. If it holds below 750s, there's a massive move. Massive is relative. I say 100-point move down. So here's the area. Sierra chart automatically adjusted the zone as well for me. It's a custom indicator that I have that calculates a few different metrics to come up with support and supply zones. So this morning, the supply zone that Sierra came up with based on the code was here. And it was perfect. It was exactly where price balanced, failed, went lower. Now Sierra is saying that this is the next area of interest for a move. In this case, support for now since it's above, but it can turn into supply or resistance. So I've been calling this area a little bit before I got here, and Sierra just agreed with me. My parameters agreed with me that I set on it. No, that was cold actually, so I turned it up. Turn it up. A tank top. Yeah. No. I know. I figured that's why. Very nice. Hmm? Yeah. Okay. I know, it's nice. I like that. Hmm? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Oh. Oh, man. Well, just let it play out here and see what it does, but it's currently consolidating at a key area. Either bounces or fades out. We'll find out soon enough. So I think rest of the session, I mean, however this plays out, but if it gets below that area, like I said here, this 750 area, I'm open to adding more to this short and then lowering the stop loss. But it has to break that structure. Otherwise, just let it move around, do its thing. So far, it's establishing a range, right? But if this range ends up developing something like this, where it starts to hold below and breaks down to this area as the target. For now, it's just chop. It looks like just boop, 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 until that structure changes. And this is a structural area. Structural area is right here at the Valier low. Oh, well, we'll let it play out and see if that's going to do that or not. Hey, good morning, Frank. Late to the show. Well, welcome. Welcome back. What are you doing? Oh, since when? Uh-huh. Or what? Uh, well. See how this plays out, but overall, my assumption is, that as long as the S&P can't hold that prior day high, and then we can hold below VWAP, we definitely can break down, because we're right in an area where it's kind of soft, because you got this Valier high. Holding below a prior Valier high, usually, especially after having traded above a prior day high, indicative of downside move into the prior Valier low right here. My assumption is that if S&P can hold below 7,780, can touch the overnight low. Can you run a report so I can share it, please? Here's the positioning that I have, report that I have. It says here, the risk right now is, there's a trap above 7,780s, which is right where this Valier high is. This holding above it reinforces the trap, meaning it can squeeze higher. But holding below it is also a risk for a favorable move lower. Oh, and this is for the S&P 780s. Last week's test of 65, so I think I can test there. It has to hold below this value. So if it does this, like essentially it did a breakout, and right now we have a failed breakout of the priority high. If it holds below the value high, then it's likely going to transverse and test the value low from the same session. But it has to hold below that 80 area. Right? So if it doesn't do that, then it's hard to assume it can break down. It has to hold below this value area, in my opinion. And I think it can. The momentum and the gamma kind of call for that. But we'll see. You know, I wouldn't say I have a high conviction of that happening, to be honest, but it has a potential given the momentum of the tape right now. Already what, up already 100 points here on the NQ. I got short at what, 870? It's at 100 points, yeah. 100 point move here on the NQ already. Probably has again, it has another 100 points lower in my favor if it does what I'm looking for. If it does what I'm looking for. Got 200 point move. We'll see. They're putting in a failed breakdown of the overnight low here on the NQ. Trying to hold again. I'll be right back. All right. Oh, still chopping around, huh? I mean, I think I got a good entry on the NQ. I'm not gonna press to add more risk until this fully breaks down. This looks like it can break down though. Like, thing is, um, will it? I don't know. It has the look to it on the NQ. You know, it's a negative gamma, or yeah, it's below the gamma flip. Not negative gamma, but below the gamma flip. And it rejected the priority high. It just needs to follow through by breaking below the current session value or low. Again, it's that 750 area, which hasn't happened. This is just too much chop. Let's see if we can 8 ticks maybe on the NQ. To be honest, like, it's watching the Nasdaq DOM is a nightmare. I've compressed it by 8 ticks. See what it does. Yeah, it looks smoother. Okay. 8 tick compression might be the go for it. Because otherwise, it's just terrible. A terrible DOM to look at. Super sporadic. Yeah, that's a lot smoother. The 8 tick compression is where it's at for now. Again, 750s. We're almost there. If it breaks down, I'll short a few more. Once the structure proves itself, and it wants to break down. That 84 area is a good spot. You shorted there, FH. I think 84, 80, anywhere between 84 and 86 is pretty good risk. If the NQ breaks down. Pissed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, NQ looks, see again, it's like it's a structure shows like it wants to break down, just consolidated below the New York Open. Which now it just needs to follow through and not trap. Let's see. Your 770. It's breaking down slowly. Let's see what they do. 750s is massive, so I gotta see it essentially break below, you know, break this area and then hold from, reject from underneath. That is where I would add to this trade. Not the initial break per se, but rather the acceptance and rejection back below. From below. Because otherwise it's prone to a failed breakdown. And I don't want to be adding into that. There's a support area. Yeah, the S&P's right at VWAP too, like it's ready to break down. Yeah, below 81. Yeah, I would say like the free and clear area on the S&P is going to be 77. If it gets below 77 on the S&P, and they're still holding it, that's like the that knockout area. If it gets below this area, this little zone, it's just good night, you know. But for now, they're going to continue to defend it because it's right at the VWAP. You can see right at VWAP, and they're just kind of holding it put together. And Q is reversing here. Just a tad. If they can do one more pop on the NQ and then reject. Do another little pop. Like this, hit the New York Open and then go lower. We'll see. Yeah, they're like hugging VWAP right now. On the S&P. Is Euro close right at 8:30? Hi. Just a casual 100-point short on the NQ. Not much. I think this can go 200 points in my favor. Just right now, I'm just being patient with the ad, something like, yeah. Looking for, you know, 200 point move potentially, but I'm open to just adding to it, but I have to see the right criteria be met to average down on it. You know, I'm never shy to add to a winning trade as the structure is playing out. I think I do that pretty consistently on the stream. You guys have seen the last few weeks. I have to see the right kind of structure to do that in. We need below VWAP, 100% below VWAP, yeah. I just don't see it right now. I mean, I can see areas to add on the NQ short, but the risk is that I get trapped and they reverse and stop me out. And I would rather just hold what I have than average down so far. I need to see momentum build in favor of the breakdown. Add into that, because I know that if it breaks, well, I don't know, but if it holds below 750s, I can see a scenario where it can drop another 100 points. More like 90 points, but give or take. Like right here below this area where it's at right now, I can see a scenario where it just slices through and just kind of touches the Friday Valor low at 29,680. And that's where I'll scale. We got some tandem confirmation here. We got the S&P holding below VWAP and then NQ breaking down below the Valor low. Let's see what happens here. Where is the... Here it is. Okay. See, it's just like just teetering at the 750s. So let's see. So we're setting up here pretty quickly. So we gotta get below IB, come back, test the Valor low, reject. I will add to that, and then we'll assume target here. That'll conclude the 200 point short. They're still holding 50s. They probed into it and held. And then S&P as well, back above VWAP. They're just kind of shaking the tree here. See what they do. Slow tape. You can see the NQ has done nothing so far besides just chop it around, which is acceptance. This is not good for longs, right? It's also not good for shorts because as volume builds here, they have fuel to squeeze higher. So just being nimble here and waiting. For me, structure says failed attempt above PDH and over NH. Yeah. So far, it's what it seems like. We're negative. We're below the gamma flip as well. We need some strength. Yeah. So I think S&P is back below VWAP again. Okay. I'll go. Thanks. Yeah, it's a little more tinted.
No,
Looks lovely. Love your banks. They're not curtains today.
they are.
Oh, they're always curtains. So sorry. Your phone case?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in one of your bags, no?
Oh.
Bye. I need to see at least 10, 20 points on ES. Yeah, you're Gucci for your 100-point deep. We'll see. Yeah, I have buffer on it. I'm 100 points in favor right now, so I'm in a good spot. I see again. I see the potential for lower, but I just gotta see it hit. Ah, where'd you get that one? Oh, guys. I love you too. Bye. Okay. And then the S&P is right at the value area low as well. Things are lining up here where the breakdown is going to happen in tandem, I think. Meaning the S&P is going to break down with the NASDAQ. It's like lining up perfectly. I just need to see a breakdown first. The thing that I'm seeing right now is it's not good where like it's good if it plays out in favor of the momentum down. But you have now alignment. You have alignment in the S&P with the NQ in terms of structure. The S&P is trading at the current value area low, and the NQ is also trading at the current value area low. Not good. I think that if the S&P, or sorry, if the NQ holds here, then it's good for longs on the S&P. And if the NQ breaks down, then it'll accelerate the move. Essentially, whatever happens with the NASDAQ here, my assumption is we can accelerate back up or accelerate back down, or accelerate lower. Hard to tell right now because it's just teetering at a structural area. I'm waiting for momentum to kick in, essentially, to add into the short, and it looks like it might be popping up here into the last, the top of the hour here. Say they're holding the value low here on S&P and then on the Nasdaq. They're both holding in tandem. See what I mean? Okay. Let them push it and see if it holds. I think it's a push to sell, but we'll see. I would just wait, chill, relax, see what happens here. So far, it's looking like it probed into that value area, and then it's rejecting to reverse back up to VWAP. We'll see. S&P actually looks weaker now than the NQ does, structurally intraday. So we'll see. We'll see. Because the NQ is recovering. See what I mean? This is exactly what I didn't want to see. It was at the value low that I said, if this holds here, it can find an impulse up. Yeah. Back to New York Open. What's going green? Nothing so far. Nice hold so far. They're above the New York Open now on the NQ. It starts to get above that at PDC 840s, then I have to get out of the way. You know, if it gets above PDC and reclaims that area, I have to step out of the way. They're just gonna break the IB high. So that's kind of like my line in the sand right there, that PDC area. Hey Pius, welcome back, sir. I'll risk more here, adding a couple. What did I add? One more lot, 2 more lots. Okay, cool. And then we'll bring it up here to the gamma flip. And then we'll target the IBL here on 2 lots. Oh, nope, no. Okay, there we go. We'll see what happens. I raised the stop here. I added more here at the New York Open, but if it pops here and starts to reclaim that 840 area, there's definitely no reason to be short. It's a big reclaim. But if this is a continuation lower, I'll take some off at the IBL if it wants to fade out, and then I'll hold the runner for that next leg if it does go lower. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap it for me, if not there. I think the entry there is pretty good to add to the trade, given the invalidation is relatively tight comparatively, and the reward is very favorable, down another from 805 where I got filled to 720 is about 80 points, so not bad. Not bad. And then the runner will be for that 200 point move. It comes down into that valley area. Let's change the song actually. All right. Ooh. You scalp something sometimes with only with order book? No, sir. No, sir. I do not do that. No, not really. I mean, I use the order book, but not only. No, not really. I put an emphasis on it. Like, and then when you say order book, I want people to understand that for those that may like not have the full context of what I mean when I say that is, I'll look at this, like I'll look at volume clusters as it breaks an area of interest. So if there's like an area of interest at a value area low or a prior value area high or overnight low, I will look at the order book to see the net amount of selling or whatever it may be that the trade setup calls for, to see the amount of trapped inventory going into that area. That I will do. But it will never be just on the books alone. Never. It would always be the structural area or zone of interest first, and the order book more as like a layer of confluence. You know, that's pretty much it. That's the way I'll use it. So I do use it, but not alone. And in the order book, I mean the congestion of orders cumulatively, right? So I hope that answers that question. Like I have a order book sitting above in a command window that shows me where all the resting orders are at. You know, where the bid walls are, the ask walls are. There's 3,000 lots sitting at the ask wall, you know, where S&P currently is. And I have a few other thousands sitting at the bid at 760s. So I do look at that, but not really for a trade per se, but rather just to see where the orders are. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna get stopped out on this long or short. Sorry, this they obviously held the New York Open. S&P couldn't fade out. Momentum came back in. They did a failed breakdown of that support area on the NQ. So I try to get the continuation lower. Unfortunately, right now, as they reclaim just above this little PDC volume, there's a few layers of confluence there on this area 840s. If it gets above that, it's going to squeeze hard. I would assume on the NQ back into like 920s. There's like a 100-point move to the upside here on the NQ if it holds above 840s. I'm not going to take it. I'm not down, but where's my stop at? 56? Yeah, 56. So we took the short. It worked out. Scaled in. Added more, but unfortunately, the continuation is just not there. They're gonna scale. They're gonna squeeze me out right here, and that's fine. You know, I'll take it. If they stop me out, I'll take it, and then I'll be a wrap. Yeah, the S&P looks pretty like it's about to squeeze here. Only because look at the candle. It reclaimed the priority high, which is great. And it's about to like fucking squeeze here. You can tell by the structure. The candles are all tight, you know? Book requires a great deal of experience. Yeah, and common sense, which a lot of people don't have. You know, like honestly, like a lot of the book is can if you understand mechanics of just like simply supply demand and MFE and MAE like moves in favor and moves out of favor of that supply and demand coming into a zone, like you can discern a lot of what's happening in the order book. If you can be objective with it. But a lot of people lack the very pinnacle aspect of it all, and that is common sense. I'm sorry, but people are retarded. Like, they just don't have common sense. And if you don't have that underlying fundamental skill, you cannot discern what's happening in a book. It'll look foreign to you. Because common sense is one of the most critical components of understanding what's happening. So yeah. I agree. I think reading the book alone, I mean, maybe some people can do it. I personally just don't. I think having an understanding of a structure of a zone or an area it just gives more context, and that context is what really can shape a trade idea. Like, for example, if the context is this: you're having a failed breakdown, a trapped inventory at a prior value area low, reclaims, holds back above, depending on the magnitude of selling, you have a clear run back into the value area high, right? But if you only use the order book, I don't think you would know that you have a move to the value area high. Objectively, you would probably be more, what do you call it? Discretionary with the exit. And so I don't know if that discretion would allow you to have a more favorable move or a less favorable move, right? That would be hard to say. It would be objective. It wouldn't be objective, it'd be subjective to that discretion. So I don't know. I don't think that like discretionary book reading is best over time, because you can't quantify your risk to reward very well if you're just measuring it after the fact and not projecting forward. But as far as like reading an order book or a DOM, I mean, I don't think it's very complicated, to be honest. I think that there are so many numbers and stuff all over the screen, but really you only need like two parts of the DOM is most important. You know, it's the delta and the pace, the center column, the pace of which the orders are getting filled or lack thereof, and the delta that's being formed into that. Those two columns are pretty much all I stare at. If you're to visualize it, yeah, you can. If you can visualize, I mean, that's where I guess that's where the volume profile on the DOM might help, right? Like I have a volume profile on it, so that might help. Because we went, look, if you look at the NQ DOM, this is the one I have open. It went from a value area low at 40s, 50s to a value area high, 850s. It went 100 points both ways. And all you had to have was a volume profile to read that potentially happening, right? So you had the value area low, failed breakdown, where I said earlier, I kind of don't like them being in conjunction there. That was the value area low, what I said I didn't like it, and it went all the way to the value area high, which is where my stop is, just above. So, you know, if you have a DOM with just those three things, maybe you can, you know? Anyway, I haven't stopped me out. They're about to, though. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't hear on this little pop-up. I'm like right at the prior, just below the gamma flip and the prior day high and all those levels. So, I don't know. We'll see. It looks like they should be able to squeeze here at any minute. We're holding above 840s, which to me, that's pretty critical reclaim area intraday. Should result in like another, I don't know, 70-point pop from here. It should go to 920s, where the current month value or high is. Here's my stop. It's not taking my stop. There we go. So, I think that as long as this holds here, we can come back into this value or high, the current month. which is like about 70 points from where we're at. The problem for me is like, if you're entering a fresh position from here, where is your risk? And it's not very favorable. You know? The risk is not very favorable to long here against a stop loss, a reasonable stop loss area that you can survive on a dip. At least that I can find or pinpoint on the structure of the NQ. I'm just not down, you know? So that's it. I'm down 247 on the day. I was green for a minute and then it just kind of failed. But anyway, on it there. We'll see what happens the rest of the session. I tried adding to the short on NQ to see if we can go lower. I didn't. At least not right now. I got stopped out just now on the add. We initially got short around the same area, and then I added more, scaled, added more, and then stopped out. So we'll call it here. Thanks for anyone who tuned in. I'll beat you guys on the next one. I'll be live tomorrow.